I generally still just I'd go to like thrift like farm. Not it was called Thrifty, but it's like Rite Aid now. You know, take soap and shit that I needed. You know what I mean? That I couldn't afford and I couldn't pay for. And there's this one time where I'm 13 and I'm still a virgin, but all my friends thought that I had sex with Sue, this one girl that I made out with. I told everybody that I had sex with her because I didn't want to be a virgin. I'm 13, and like my older brother, like he's having sex, and it was just embarrassing being a virgin. So I lied and I said I had sex before once, just so I wasn't a fucking virgin. Because all the older kids were 15, 16, and they're having a lot of sex, and here I am. I'm like 13, but I have this girlfriend. We'd make that girl from before, the sex days where you're just making out for like 3 hours straight. You're just like in the side of the house waiting. If the mom pulls up or the dad pulls up, you could run in the house real quick and pretend you're watching MTV and shit. When the dad walks in, so you got to do it on the side of the garage, so you hear the cars coming, because you never knew. With this girl, we never knew when her dad or her mom were going to show up. Her mom was a hairdresser. She had an irregular schedule, so we had to do our making out, but we had to keep the lookout and shit all the time. And then after about 3 months, you start feeling the side of you're making out, and you put your hand right on the small of her back, and she fucking pushes your hand away, and you're like, fuck. So then you make out again for a couple more weeks, and then you try it again, and then she pushes your hand, and you're like, fuck. And then finally she doesn't push your hand. You're like, oh shit, now you're making out. You're 13, and you're feeling the small of her back, and you're like, oh my God, you got like the craziest boner. And eventually, after 6 months, it progresses inch by inch. Then you start reaching in for the titty. She pushes it away. You reach for the titty. She pushes it away. And then she grabs your hand. Then she grabbed my hand, opened up her bra. Her titties were mosquito bites. And she put my hand on her titty. And it freaked me the fuck. I'm like, oh my God, I'm feeling a titty.
You almost had a nervous breakdown.
Yes.
Your face got red.
Yeah.
Horrible. Anxiety.
I had to tell somebody. I ran home, and my friend Honorio down the street, we met. I go, come to the church. We go to the church. We had a local church where everyone hung out. We're like in the church in the pews. I'm like, man, she grabbed my hand and pulled her bra down and put my hand like right on it, and she said, oh, your hands. She said that, and I told him. So then he always used to make fun of me. He would play football and goes, oh, your hands. And I go, shut the fuck up, man. You're not supposed to tell anybody. So eventually, we got to the point where we were dry humping to the point where I was ejaculating.
Oh, sweating in your pants.
So we would be on the ground, like in the garage, we're fully clothed, making out and like giving each other lap dances. And I would bust nuts. I'd come home and shit, pull off my sticky ass underwear, throw them in the hamper, and then just watch TV and shit. You know what I mean? I was satisfied. I didn't need to go any further than that. I was totally cool. That's where the progression stopped, at the dry hump, and I was cool with that. I loved it, looked forward to it, And then she wanted to go further. We were 13, and she was like, she talked to her 12-year-old sister who was having sex with her boyfriend. Her 12-year-old sister
Where did you grow up?
In Santa Ana, Mexicans. She gave her 12-year-old gave advice to the 13-year-old. She said, you got to ask him to get a condom. So she tells me, she goes, I think we need to get a condom. And I was like, for what? What the fuck we need a condom for? Because I think we gotta actually have sex. And I thought, oh shit, I'm not gonna buy a fucking condom. I'm gonna go to thrifty drugstores and buy a fucking condom. I knew I was gonna have to resort to my thievery ways. So I go, there's no way I'm gonna buy a fucking condom. So I went into Thrifties with an electric blue giant ski jacket. I walked in there, grabbed, I didn't want to do this often, so I got the biggest box. It was the Aqua 36 pack. I remember I was 13. I'll never forget the Aqua 36 pack. Put it in my fucking ski jacket, walked out, stole it, and bam! Now we had to have fucking sex. It was time. She's under the covers. I get in. I put the condom on. We're in her bedroom. I'm looking out to make sure her dad fucking doesn't show up. You know what I mean? And I didn't know. I had no idea where the pussy was. I was trying to put it in like right at the clit. So I had a condom on, and I'm going boom right in the clit, and I'm not having any luck. And she's like, "That's not it. That's not it." And then I fucking nutted right there, just trying to put it in the clit. And then I'm like, I think your dad's here. So we got dressed. I went into the living room watching some MTV, and she comes out. She had a dress on with no underwear. That was her move. Like, she would just stand up and say, "Hi, Dad," and then she'd have a dress. So she comes into the living room. She goes, "Hey, no one's here. Come on, let's go back." And I said, because I nutted. I said, I have a bad feeling. Let's wait a little while. Let's just wait. So we waited like 30 minutes. We go back, put the condom back in, and I asked her for help. She goes, you gotta help me. This ain't working. So she grabs it and she puts them on the fucking. And I realized I was so off. I would have never guessed to go way underneath by the ass. I would have never guessed. I was totally in the wrong spot. And I put it in 3 seconds. She's fucking freaking out. It hurts. I come again. Boom. It's a fucking wrap. And I go home. My brother's 17 at this point, totally experienced and shit. And I run home like, dude, Nicole's pussy hole is right next to her asshole. And he goes, they're all next to the asshole. I thought you had sex before with Sue. What about her? And I'm like, oh, I did. I go, they're all by the asshole? He goes, yes, all pussy holes are right next to the asshole. And that's where I got busted. I learned a lot that day. Oh, but check this out. So we started having sex, right? It would last 1 minute. And after like the 11th time, she started crying. And she goes, I go, what's wrong? And she said, I didn't think it was going to be like that. I thought it'd be so much more. And she's crying. And I go home and I ask my brother, I go, fuck, Nicole freaked out. She started crying after it was like the 11th time. I'll never forget. It was like, and my brother said, well, how fast are you coming? I said, I don't know. It was like within a minute, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, 15. I go, I don't know, 1 minute? I don't know. And he said, that's where you're fucking up, dude. You gotta fuck them good. You gotta make them come. You can't come until they come. You gotta make sure they come. My brother's giving me all this sex advice. I'm like, oh shit, I had no idea. Then I took his advice and try to hold it and shit. It was really hard to hold. What I would do is I would name Cleveland football. I would spell Cleveland players' names. Like after a while, I remember spelling Webster. I go, Cleveland Browns wide receiver Webster Slaughter, WEBSTER SL, and it would work, man. It would work good, because if you got to spell that shit out, you're not thinking about your dick. You know what I mean? And then sometimes it would work too fucking good, and then your dick starts going, and you don't want to go limp. Yeah. So then now you're thinking about pussy and shit. Now you're looking at the pussy, and you're all into it. You're like, yeah, and then it gets hard, and then you got to go, bam, wide receiver Cleveland Browns Brian Brennan, BRIANBEENN, and then boom, it would go. It would work, and I was getting close to finishing those 36, so I said, damn, I got like 6 left. I'm not going. I don't want to get busted for stealing condoms. That was because I had gotten busted a couple times. Every now and then you get busted shoplifting. And so I started fucking washing them. Like the last 6, I would fucking have sex with them, pull them out, wash them with soap and shit, fill them, then rinse them, fill them with water, and with all the weight of the water, you could roll them back up and you slip them back in the packets. Boom. I used them like 3 times just to avoid trying to steal them again.
You were like a walking yeast infection, you know that? You were giving broads yeast infection. I don't know what's going on. Eddie's spreading that fucking dried up helmet juice that he puts back in the cellophane to try to resell.
Those things are indestructible.
Yeah, but they're not rewashable. You can't put them back in
Try
the
it.
Because they go back in there with fluid, and then they develop a mold.
No.
I'm telling you, they get all fucked up.
Trust me, I did that for years.
It was so crazy because
years?